Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, you might recall about a year ago I did a vlog where I made a squirrel house for my backyard. It turns out when I was back in California I made a bird house and hung it on my house, and the truth is I saw some birds looking at it a few times, but nobody ever actually used it. And when I moved from California and came here to Texas, I brought it down and brought it along with me. And when I got my house built, I hung it up in a tree in the backyard and hope, okay, well, maybe we got more birds here. Maybe we'll get a little activity. Yeah, no one ever used it here either. I saw them look at it a few times, but nobody ever used it. I was about to pull it down and I noticed that something, and I figured later on it was squirrels, had tried to chew out the hole in the birdhouse because it was too small for them to try and get in. So they want to chew it out and see if they could use it. And that was sort of what triggered me going out and deciding to build one myself. I originally first started looking around, could I buy one? And that's not, you can see birdhouses anywhere you go, like at Home Depot or any kind of a home and garden show or something like that. You can see them all over the place. But squirrel houses, that's not quite so easy. So I decided at the time I was going to build one myself, and basically looked online for plans and found a whole bunch of ideas on how to do it, and basically just kind of took what I thought was the best ideas, some different ones, and built my squirrel house. And like I said, I did that about a year ago, and the last 3 or 4 months or so that video has started to take off. In fact, it's already it's still like one of my top 3 videos in any week that I look at. So it's doing really well. It's getting a lot of views. It's got probably 5 to 6 times as many views as my videos usually get. And so I decided I wanted to do kind of a follow-up on that. You see, when I got the squirrel house built last time, I finished up the video with the completion of the squirrel house, but I never actually put it in the tree. And in fact, it's been sitting in my garage ever since. But with the increased activity and interest in the old video, I decided I wanted to finish this thing off. One of the problems I ran into was the instructions I saw on how to build squirrel houses said that once you get it built, it needs to be put like 30 feet up in a tree. And it's like, I don't have a ladder that's 30 feet tall. And the tree I'm thinking of doing, this one right here behind me, it doesn't really have any good branches to attach to that are 30 feet off the ground. And then I started thinking, wait a second. The reason we're even doing this originally was that the squirrels went after the birdhouse, which was about 12 feet off the ground. They were trying to use that. Maybe the fact that the squirrels here are relatively tame, that they know humans pretty well, maybe they're not going to have as much of a problem with it being 12 feet off the ground. And that's a lot easier. That's a lot more attainable. So last week I decided that, yeah, okay, that's what we're going to do. And last week I actually pulled the birdhouse out, took it apart, painted it because it was bare wood. It's going to be going outside. I want to give it some sort of protection from the elements. So I painted it last week, and well, let's assemble it and hang it up in the tree. All right, so this is the 2 major pieces of my squirrel house. And remember, this is a little front door thing. It's got a little platform in the hole. Once they get into the hole, they're in the top section here. They can kind of go to the back of the top section and crawl down to the bottom section here. That's going to provide good protection from drafts and stuff like that. It'll also protect them from predators. It's got this little screen material at the bottom. They recommend doing that because then if you get any moisture in there, the moisture will drain out of the bottom. And then what they also recommend is fill the nesting area, which is going to be this area here, fill it up with leaves. So about a week ago I grabbed some of the dry leaves that have come out of the yard, come off the trees, because let's face it, we're pretty much into winter now, and all the leaves are coming down, so there's a lot of leaf material floating around. So I grabbed that and got a bucket full of that. We're gonna basically fill the bottom section up with it, reattach the front piece, and then we'll go put it up in the tree. Alright, so I got the nesting quarters of the house filled up with the leaves, kind of crunched down a little bit. It kind of seems a little packed in there, but trust me, they'll move it. They'll move things around in there and turn this into a nice little nest for them. So Next thing I got to do is put the wall on the front side on it, and that just attaches with a couple of screws. And there's our final product. The front side's been attached now, and that's going to provide, I think, really good protection, not only from the elements, but from what few predators there may be here in Texas. I don't think there's like any like a million predators, but there's like birds out here, and this will definitely provide a lot of protection from birds. So let's go get this thing hung up. But there's one thing I got to do first. And that is I got to put a couple of holes in the top here, because this is how we're going to attach it to the tree. All right, there we go. We got it up into the tree. Had to use a little inventiveness to get it up there, because that thing probably weighs about 20 pounds, and I didn't really want to bring that thing up a ladder with me. So what I actually ended up doing is strung a hook over one of the branches just above where I wanted to have the squirrel house, and used one of my harnesses that I used to pull the Halloween decorations up into the tree, and used that to pull the squirrel house up the tree. So like I said, it was a little shaky, you know. I didn't really want to go up the ladder with that thing, so that was the best way to get it up there. I kind of pre-drilled out the holes, drove 4-inch lag bolts into the tree, which should hold that for many, many years to come. And actually found an area where it was pretty level. That was another one of the concerns I have. A lot of these branches kind of lean out, and that one actually is a little bit level. It slopes a little bit towards the back, but I don't think that's going to bother the squirrels at all. And it's up there really securely now. I shouldn't have any problems with it, and it should be up there for a good long time, and hopefully provide a little shelter for the squirrels. Like I said, one of the things that kind of pushed me into doing this was that we were starting to get cold out, and I don't know exactly where they go for nesting, but this will definitely, hopefully, attract some attention and get some squirrel activity in here. You know, I love the squirrels, and I feed them and all that stuff, so it only makes sense that we'd build them a little house. So there you go, got the squirrel house up into the tree, and that should be a very prime real estate here now at some point. So I got one more thing I need to do today, and let me tell you about that. All right, now I got one more thing I want to do before I wrap up this video, and that's involving this tree. This tree is actually in my neighbor's yard, but it hangs way over the fence, and I've talked about this before. I'm really concerned about how much the power lines are interspersed up there among the tree branches. This one big branch here, the wire is sitting on top of that, so maybe that's not going to be as much a problem. But the one above it, that one there is above it, that one's above it, that one is actually resting on the wire, and I'm convinced this is a big part of the reason why power can be a little sketchy around here, is because you get a storm coming, one of these branches comes down and knocks a wire out, and all of a sudden you have a power outage in the whole area. So Encore, the company that kind of manages the electrical grid here in Texas, has been going around trimming the trees around the power wires. In fact, you can probably hear the chainsaws off in the distance there. Yeah, that's Encore doing that. And they're going to work their way this way at some point. And I'm guessing they're going to have to pull a bunch of these branches down. Unfortunately, that's going to change the nature of this yard a little bit, because I think this whole branch here, which provides a lot of shade in the back of the yard, that whole thing's going to have to come down, because that one is actually on top of the wire. But in preparation for that, I got to take my bird feeder down, because my bird feeder is hanging on one of the branches that's more than likely going to come down. And I don't know how much they'll how many precautions they'll take to protect personal property that's attached to the tree. So I just want to be preemptive, and I'm going to take this down, and we'll probably end up moving it over to that tree at some point. But I got to do that today before we get to before Encore gets out here and starts chopping on this tree. So I'm just going to get an A-frame ladder up here, pull that thing down. We'll probably this thing's starting to look a little rotten anyway, so we'll probably just end up throwing that away and getting some new one. We're getting close to winter anyway, so want to have a good fresh bird feed in there, so that when the winter comes, we get some bird activity around here. So I'm going to do that, and then I think we're going to be wrapping up this video today. All right, we got that down. That came down pretty easily, actually. So we're pretty much ready to go at this point. One of the things I am kind of looking forward to, and I'm hoping that Encore will kind of oblige me a little bit, is usually when they cut all this stuff down, they bring one of those grinder trucks around and grind everything up into pulp. And I'm hoping maybe they'll let me keep some of these big branches, because there's some really amazing firewood here if I can manage to keep that, and that will keep me going with firewood for a couple of years. So hopefully that'll work. They're usually pretty receptive to that, because what they don't have to grind up gives them more room in the truck for other branches. So we're gonna see what happens on that. But like I said, I'm all ready to go, and I'm also ready to see if the squirrels are interested in their squirrel house. So we'll see what happens on that. I'll definitely keep you on the loop, and we'll see what happens. So anyway, I think that's all I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.